18 years worth of experience with this phone system. So to have to relearn a new system would be somewhat of a headache.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. And having gone through a complete change when I worked for the state in phone systems and the headache that went with a complete change in hardware, software, interoperability, and so forth, this is going to save tons of money for the city in terms of time, aggravation, mistakes, et cetera, not to mention the actual physical cost, because that was a real treat to go through, said no one involved. So just want to get that out there. Kudos to the team that led the way to make that happen, but if we can avoid it, that's fabulous. Anything else on this public hearing before I ask people in the audience? So I don't have anybody signed up to testify in this public hearing. Is there anyone here who would like to address the council on this issue? Going once, going twice. Anything else from council before we close the public hearing? Public hearing is now closed. Council President Starr.
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, exemption of the brand name specifications, purchase of goods from competitive bidding, and entering into a contract with CompuNet, Inc.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2023, exemption of the brand name specifications, purchase of goods from competitive bidding, and entering into a contract with CompuNet, Inc. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Councilor Hessman. That concludes our public hearings for this evening, and we will now go to administrative action. And we go to item 8A, which is a discussion regarding amendment to council rules, adding discussion items. And I believe that actually comes to me. Let me get to my page here. Fine, I'll go back to page 1. I've asked with the concurrence of Councilors Reed and Hussman to bring this to City Council to amend our rules to clarify our process for placing matters on the agenda. We found that a requirement for Councilor concurrence to be submitted in writing was not specified. And when we had an incident where there was a misunderstanding regarding council concurrence, we found that we just need to add that into the rules so we're clear that it would be in writing. We also found that we needed a requirement for an agenda item to have written information to accompany it, not only for the City Council, but also for the public to have transparency and understand what we are going to be doing and to be prepared to participate in the public process. So with that, I am asking the council to consider this change to our rules. And that's to amend council rules as follows. Section 6.4, the third and fourth sentences be rewritten as follows. Quote, such request to add an item for council consideration shall require written concurrence from at least 2 additional council members. The agenda item for consideration shall also be submitted in writing and will be published with the agenda. In addition, in a public meeting, the council may place items on a future agenda under either other orders of business or agenda input, end quote. So with that, I would ask council concurrence to, and I think what I understood from Mr. Johnson, to direct staff to come back with a resolution to adopt this into our rules. Is that correct, Mr. Johnson?
Correct.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions? Okay, Council President Starr, a motion to direct staff to come back with a resolution to add this, this section to our council rules.
I move the Keizer City Council direct staff to propose or draft a resolution amending our council rules as stated in the document in the email.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council direct staff to come back with a resolution to amend the council rules as was presented in the council packet memo. Any further discussion? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I appreciate the opportunity to address this. I just have some questions, I guess, because there have been a number of things the last couple of years that we have done completely different than this. And it just seems that I'm trying to understand why we're doing this specifically. For example, we talked about a dog leash law, and that wasn't submitted like this at all. We talked about a fireworks ordinance, and that wasn't submitted this way at all. We discussed it as a council, and then we directed staff to go and put an ordinance together. So I'm wondering what the big difference is.
Thank you very much. In a couple of those instances, we did a work session first. So we actually published that we were going to be discussing the issue. There were background information that we could consider. The public was then able to participate and know what we were going to be talking about, so they could submit written or oral testimony in that regard. And then when it came to city council, then it was something that was already out there for people to be able to respond to. It was an opportunity to make sure that we were clear about what we were asking one another to consider, but also to engage with the public.
But they still weren't submitted like this.
I don't understand.
Well, we discussed them, we had a work session, but it was brought to council in a discussion, not as a proposal like this.
I guess I'm not, it could be brought forth in discussion, but there has to be a description of what you're going to discuss to be able to be on the agenda, was the point. So when we were discussing the leash law, there was background information to help us understand what we're going to be talking about, what the background on the rules are or aren't. And with the leash laws, in order for us to be able to know that this is the jurisdiction, this is where our current situation is, and this was some of the desires of the council who brought it forward. But it was open in such a way that the public would know that we were going to be talking about that and then be able to interact.
But it came from a discussion on the dais.
Yes. But that can be introduced under, and as it says in the last line here, which is lifted from our current council rules, this is not a rewrite. I just included the entire line that council may place items on a future agenda under either other orders of business or agenda input. So there is that opportunity to say, I would like to have item X, a leash law, come forward, but then you have to give some parameters so people know what we're going to be talking about, what's going to be coming back, and then for it to be determined if it's going to go to a council resolution or if it needs to go to a work session. And then we need to decide as a council, as a group, on how we're going to proceed in a transparent manner. But thank you, that's a great question. Councilor Reed?
Never mind. Withdraw.
Okay. Anything further? Councilor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I guess I would probably bigger picture with the council rules and procedure instead of just taking one council rules, because again, I'm only a year into this, and taking this one item and pushing through a resolution, a work session, and maybe we review all of them. So I'm probably going to agree with Councilor Kohler on this.
Okay. And yes, the entire council rules were redone at the end of, when we finished adopting, actually the voters approved our new charter. Then we had a council rules work group that went through all of the rules, updated them, and also went back through looking at the model rules that are through the League of Oregon Cities, made sure that our rules were compliant with the new charter. So yes, they were completely redone, and we've made a number of changes because this is a living document, and we will continue to do so as we have under item 8B as well. Okay. Council President Starr.
So I just want to clarify, I think there's been I've sent something in writing to put on the agenda. In the past, though, that document hasn't been included in the packet. So if I'm understanding what we're asking, it's literally, we want to clarify the council rules, that whatever that email that I've sent in, right, and CC'd the people that I have to support putting it on there, that is what would be included in the packet. So that when the public reads through the packet, they can see what I've asked, like what I asked for. So it's literally just taking the email for the leash law, because I had to have 2 other people support it on the agenda. It's literally more clarification and process driven to take that email and put it in the packet.
Yes, because then it's clear, this is what the 3 counselors agreed to bring as a council agenda item.
Right.
And that way the public knows where it came from and what we're planning to talk about. Otherwise, it's just a line and everybody speculates about what we're actually going to talk about, and that's not open process, in my opinion.
Okay, so I just want to make sure that I'm understanding. It doesn't necessarily have to be in this format, the background paragraph that is included here, and then the proposed amendment to the council rules. It's more just putting the email that I would have, for example, that we've used, the leash law, that Councilor Kohler used, it would be just that email in the packet.
Correct. So, for example, here, the actual language is here because we want to be clear that's what we're talking about. But if we're talking about a new concept or a new task force or a new issue that we want to undertake, we need to clarify that and we need to know what we're going to be talking about. And so if you said in an email, I want to talk about X, and so do these 2 counselors, it helps us, the rest of us, know what X is, rather than, hear about it when we get here. And it's also for the public also to know what we're going to be talking about. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to point out that this is far, I'm going to say, easier than what the staff brings us to talk about on the agenda. I'm looking at, just the next thing, and we have a full proposed motion, a summary, background, a very thorough presentation of what the issue is and what will be discussed. And, I wouldn't go so far as to say that, we need to follow that pattern, but it would be a good idea. Just to make sure that everybody knows, the full thinking behind whatever issue is being brought up at the time. So, maybe that's a discussion for a future date, but, it would make sense that we would have to follow the same process as the staff to get things on the agenda.
So this is at least a way to make sure that people know what we're talking about. It's transparency, it's clear communication to the public and to our fellow council members. We want to set everybody up for success. So you can come prepared with your best thinking, your own research, and be prepared to talk about issues. Okay, we have a motion, right? Okay. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed signify by saying no.
No.
I believe that's a fail. Is that correct with a tie?
I'm sorry, I was reading, Madam Mayor. What is
It
the
was
question?
it's 3-3. And
Motion fails on a
motion fails. Thank you. All right, let's go to item 8B. Discussion regarding amendment to the council rules of procedures, minutes, and electronic mail, social media. Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I'm going to take this for Ms. Bissett, who is gone tonight, because I discussed this matter with her. It's actually 2 separate matters, but I asked her to add it to her staff report, my item. I'll go over her item first. It's kind of a fairly easy one. Melissa was surprised that we had all the counselors signing the minutes. And she says every place she's been, either the city recorder or maybe the mayor and city recorder sign the minutes. So it's just sort of a small item. She suggested it'd just be easier just to have the mayor and city recorder change it. So that is, in a nutshell, the proposal there. While I was talking to her, and I can't remember how the issue came up, the second issue is in section 19.1 of the council rules. It refers to electronic correspondence, email, social media, about council observing guidelines in their elected roles. It says that at the beginning of the section, as you can see in the staff report, page 47 of the packet, and then going on page 48, and then it also says at the end of that section. Frankly, that's narrower than public records law. It's not a matter of whether you have it in your role as city councilor or not. If it's a public record, I mean, it doesn't matter whose email it's on or what, but if it's city business, even if it wasn't received in your role as city councilor, and even if you feel like you're not talking in your role as city councilor, if it's city business, it's a public record. And so my proposal, if I can find the language, she put it in here for me. Oh, here it is at the top, actually. I was suggesting replacing in your role as counselor, instead saying when dealing with public records, which lines up and is parallel to state law. So those are the two proposals. Council may, one of the disadvantages of putting two things on here is you may want to make those as separate motions if there seems to be any disagreement, because that's called separation in parliamentary rules. You can't be forced to vote for one thing if you don't like them both. So I'll leave that to council if you want to make that as two separate motions. It reads as one motion there, but you can separate that if you feel that that's appropriate. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions on the proposed language change or the staff report? Okay, Council President Starr, do you want to try it with both? And first of all, if we do both, is there any objection? Council President Starr.
I move to direct staff to prepare a resolution to incorporate the proposed changes specific to section 13.1 minutes and section 19.1 electronic mail social media.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt resolution R 2023 discussion, I'm reading the wrong line. To direct staff, thank you, to prepare a resolution to incorporate the proposed changes specific to section 13.1 minutes and section 19.1 electronic mail / social media. Any discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye.
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 Any opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, that's Councilor Hessman. All right, now we're on to item 8C, which is a discussion regarding gas and electric franchise agreements. And we're going to start with Mr. Brown, and after we get the staff presentation, I'll invite up our guests to talk to us about the franchise agreements with your utilities. How about that? All right, Mr. Brown.
Thank you, Madam Mayor and Council. We are in front of you requesting permission to move forward with franchise agreements that are expiring in the next 5 months, namely Salem Electric, Northwest Natural Gas, and Portland General Electric. This discussion goes back over a year when the previous council requested to do a right-of-way ordinance that was under draft for a year, came back in May of 2023, and the ordinance was rejected at that time, but the council requested that we revisit it. We are planning to revisit that next week, but we don't anticipate that it's going to result in a decision to move forward immediately with a right-of-way ordinance. We expect that the council will want more public engagement in the process and more feedback from our utilities before something gets in front of you for approval, and implementation plan. So knowing that, what we're asking for is that we move forward with these three entities. I sat down with them, had a great conversation with them. We talked about some other communities that are doing this, and what they shared with me is that some other communities doing right-of-way ordinance are also doing franchise fees for some of these utilities that are regulated by the Public Utilities Commission and have a designated service area. There is some benefit in the right-of-way ordinance on top of franchise agreements for these utilities that they explained to me that capture some service that's piggybacking on their transmission, but is not paying the freight, their own freight. So they were happy to work with me on working that and pointing me in the right direction with some other communities that have done that. And so have requested to be able to go forward with these 3 franchise agreements.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions on the staff report and Councilor Cross?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. How many years are you looking for, or do we usually do with these franchise agreements, and what are you looking to do with those right now?
Jen, Councilor Cross, I think they're 10 years.
They're typically 10 years.
Yeah.
And is that what you plan on doing again?
That's what would be a point of discussion, but I think that's the standard.
Thank you.
Okay, any other questions at this point? Okay, I would like to invite up Zachary Selecki from, which one are you? You're Northwest Natural, okay.
Is this on? Any click anything? There we go.
Now you're
Says
on.
light indicates that it's
Yes.
on. That helps. Thank you so much for having me here. For the record, my name is Zachary Selicki, and I'm the Community and Government Affairs Manager with Northwest Natural. Northwest Natural, we're headquartered at 250 Taylor Street in Portland, Oregon. We also have resource centers across our service territory. We actually have one just south of here on Broadway. I just want to say thank you so much again for the opportunity to come and speak on this this evening, and good timing to get to talk about it right before you continue on with the discussions. I could reiterate a number of the things that you're going to hear from my counterparts at PGE and Sam Electric here shortly. And the reason why we value franchise agreements, but I'm going to kind of focus on one thing specifically. And that is the main point that I'd like to emphasize is the stability that franchise agreements create for utilities, energy utilities specifically, and mostly for us who work in the right of way on a regular basis. Franchise agreements create a streamlined process for permitting that both parties, that both the city and the utilities in the franchise agreement agree upon and ensure that the work being done is done in the most effective and efficient way. This streamlined process helps reduce some burdens on cities issuing numerous permits every time a project or a time that we have to go in and work on our equipment and infrastructure. This helps kind of streamline that process, and that's one point of emphasis that I think is super important. We ask that council supports a franchise agreement and renewing our franchise agreement. We're more than happy to go and renegotiate specific aspects of it and find common ground and align our goals and needs going forward. So again, thank you so much, and I look forward to working with you all shortly.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions? All right, thank you.
Thank you.
Wendy Valise from Portland General Electric.
Good evening, Mayor Clark and esteemed city councilors. My name is Wendy Valise, and I represent Portland General Electric, PGE, a trusted provider of electricity to the residences and businesses of Keizer. Our headquarters are located at 121 Salmon Street, Portland, Oregon, and we have a line operations center at 4245 Kale Street, Northeast Salem. I'm grateful for the opportunity to provide comments this evening, seeking your approval for advancing a franchise agreement with PGE. The long-standing partnership between Keizer and PGE has been marked by a collaborative spirit and steadfast commitment to addressing issues collectively. We appreciate the inclusive approach as it has served the community well for decades. For more than 130 years, we've been powering people's lives. Say that 3 times. PGE serves approximately 900,000 customers with a surface area population of nearly 2 million Oregonians in 51 cities. Based on our experience, cities value a franchise agreement because it serves your residents and our customers well. PGE is unique in that it is obligated to provide electricity within a designated service area and is regulated by the Oregon Public Utility Commission. One of the really great things that we have a lot in common is Keizer and PGE share a common purpose in serving residents who are also our valued customers. Both entities bear the responsibility of delivering critical services at reasonable costs, utilizing the public right-of-way. In PGE's case, it is with your permission. We recognize the importance of sound right-of-way management practices for maintaining roads and utility facilities. Our long-term positive working relationship with Keizer is a testament to our commitment to such practices. Through the existing franchise agreement, we have established a reliable system for regulating PGE's work and facilities in the city's right-of-way. We ask that you move forward with the staff recommendation this evening to renewing our franchise agreement. We welcome the opportunity to renegotiate the franchise agreement utilizing the current one, which has proven effective in serving the community over the past decade. Thank you for your consideration, and we look forward to continued collaboration for the benefit of Keizer's residents and businesses who are also PGE's valued customers. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions for Ms. Velez? Councilor Kohler? Wendy, there's one question.
Thank you for your service in many different ways. And do you have an opinion on how long the agreement should be?
Your both Attorney Shannon Johnson and City Manager Adam Brown were correct that the standard best practice is 10 years. We are finding many agreements is if everything's working 10 years, there is, Shannon, this is for you, there's an automatic 5-year extension. It's because things are working well, but why? Let's be really effective in our time and resources, and there's an automatic clause unless one party says, for example, if the city after 10 years felt like, no, we want to renegotiate, you would provide notice to say, no, we're going to renegotiate because we want to add X, Y, Z. Shannon, did you want to?
That's correct.
So
Thank you.
typically that's what we see. Thank you.
All right, thank you. Batting cleanup. Tony Shaker. Salem Electric.
All right, thank you. Mayor Clark and Keizer City Councilors, good evening. My name is Tony Shecker. I'm the general manager at Salem Electric. Our headquarters are over in West Salem. As noted on the agenda, the City Council plans to discuss the renewal of its franchise agreement with Salem Electric. I'm here this evening in support of this proposal to negotiate, update, modify, or extend the current franchise agreement. For those who may be unfamiliar with Salem Electric, we are a member-owned electric cooperative serving roughly 20,000 members in Keizer, Salem, and unincorporated Polk County. We currently serve just over 5,200 members in Keizer city limits. In 1968, the Public Utility Commission allotted Salem Electric a defined service territory that includes a requirement to provide electric service to everyone within that service territory. This requirement sets us apart from many of the other users in the city's rights-of-way. We are dedicated to continuing to provide the high-quality electric service our membership has grown to expect and rely on, and we're here to stay. Because of this, a franchising agreement instead of an ordinance is a much better suited means of regulating our use within the right-of-way. However, Salem Electric also understands the council's interest in the formation of a right-of-way ordinance for entities that operate under different circumstances. And following the completion of a new franchise agreement, we would be very supportive of that endeavor. A franchising agreement and an ordinance are not mutually exclusive, and having both would likely strengthen the city's ability to regulate the right-of-way use to meet its needs. Our working relationship with the City of Keizer has always been very collaborative, and we intend to keep it that way. In closing, I would like to thank you all for your consideration in this matter and working to better understand the nuances between the two options being discussed and how each is associated with differently situated users within the right-of-way. As the discussion moves forward, Salem Electric, and I in particular, am very willing to help provide whatever is needed from an assistance standpoint. So thank you for your time tonight and attention on this matter. Appreciate it.
All right, thank you very much. Any questions? All right, no questions. Thank you very much. All right. Are there any additional questions, or shall I go ahead and have Council President Starr put a motion on the table? All right, Council President Starr.
I move that the Keizer City Council direct the city manager and city attorney to move forward with negotiating gas and electric franchise agreements expiring in the next 5 months.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council direct the city manager and city attorney to move forward with negotiating gas and electric franchise agreements expiring in the next 5 months. Discussion. Is there any desire upon the council to do anything other than the 10-year, which is the industry standard? Okay, we're good. Anything else that the council would like to discuss on this matter? All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, Councilor Hussman. Thank you all for being with us tonight, and thank you for serving our community. We appreciate it. All right, let's go on to item 8D, which is an ordinance in the matter of the application of Bacchus Investments LLC for a partition to divide the property into 2 parcels and for a comprehensive plan map change from commercial to medium and high-density residential for the northern parcel and a zone change from commercial general to medium-density residential for the northern parcel located at 1141 Jamawa Road North, Keizer, Oregon, case number 2023-16. Could you have made the title any longer?
Oh, you don't, you dare ask.
I know it has been before. Because it's an ordinance, we have to read it precisely. All right, with that, I will go to Mr. Witham.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Council. I do want to say my version of the title was much, much shorter, but when the lawyers get involved and write the ordinances, they change those on us. So not my fault, but yeah. So this was before council on December 4th. At the December 4th meeting, we had a public hearing. Back in November, we had a public hearing before the hearings officer. This was the comp plan zone change and partition of that northern 1 acre at 1141 Shamawa Road, where Lawrence Sanitation operates, and they want to divide off that northern piece so that they can develop with some multifamily housing. So at the December 4th hearing, we had the public hearing. It was not hotly contested. I don't think we got any testimony at all, actually. But at that time, staff was directed to come back with the ordinance, so that's what's before you tonight. This is what finalizes the approval, so we can get that sent out, and they can move forward with development plans in the future. So included is the ordinance and several attachments, which are like the findings and all of the conditions that go along with the approval. So with that, I'd be happy to answer any questions.
All right, thank you very much. Are there any questions on the ordinance for this zone change? Mr. Johnson.
Madam Mayor, I had indicated this some time ago, but I just wanted to say this again. On the title, we put it this way so we can track it. However, it only needs to be read in the title once by the mover. So you don't have to repeat it, Madam Mayor, here or the motion. If you wish, you can just say the motion has been made and seconded.
Thank you very much.
Okay, just
No pressure, Council President Starr.
Council President Starr, in your role, you do not just say the whole thing, sorry.
First, we are on TV, so I can't stick my tongue out.
Well, you could, but you know, yeah, that's okay. Be front page above the fold. All right, with that, let's, focus. I know we're still giddy from the new year, but this is a fabulous project. Any discussion or any other questions on this before we go to a motion? Councilor Kohler and then Councilor, no.
I was just pointing.
Okay.
Councilor.
Oh, and then okay. And then
Thank you,
Councilor.
Madam Mayor. I did have a couple of constituents call about this, and they were concerned about making industrial land residential land and zoned anyway from industrial to residential. And I explained where it was, and they kind of went, oh, okay, no worries. But I guess I just wanted to make sure that people understood that this isn't a big zone change that's going to affect our industrial usage of land.
It is in a rather awkward space for, well, it's not industrial, it's right now commercial. Yeah, and it's really not conducive to commercial use.
Yeah, it's commercial general land, and it's directly adjacent to a residential neighborhood that includes multifamily and single-family dwellings. And this is just the north 1 acre of it. The actual commercial use is on the southern 3/4 of the property where Lawrence has been operating for as long as I've been around, at least. So yeah, we felt, and the findings are pretty extensive, and it is difficult. I think we did talk about it a little bit at the public hearing. It's always difficult when we are short on all of our land kinds. So to say, oh, we need this versus this, it's kind of hard to do, but I felt the applicant made good points. There's actually been some recent legislation that's kind of going through because housing is a big need everywhere around the state. So we feel it's appropriate. That's what's been recommended, so, yeah.
Thank you. Councilor Duran?
My only question is, since this has been a little bit more public, has there been any negative feedback since in the last month?
On this particular, I have not heard anything, and it did get, there was notice mailed and posted physically on the property and in the paper, and on our website, and we had one person came and testified in support of the zone change, but they didn't particularly like the development pattern that was proposed. But otherwise, I had some calls and some questions, but nothing more than that, which I was honestly sort of surprised I didn't get more also.
Yeah, I am also, so I just was concerned that something had come up, because typically people don't catch it in the beginning, and now that it's been a little bit more public, I just thought I'd see if there was anything that has been brought up, so thank you.
Thank you. Good question. Anything further? Council President Starr?
Okay, everybody settle in as I read the book. I move that Keizer City Council adopt ordinance 2024 in the matter of the application of Bacchus Investments LLC for a partition to divide the property into 2 parcels and for a comprehensive plan map change from commercial to medium and high-density residential for the northern parcel and a zone change from commercial general to medium-density residential for the northern parcel located at 1141 Shamawa Road North, Keizer, Oregon, case number 2023-16.
Second.
The motion has been made and seconded. Any further discussion? All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with 1 absent, and that's Councilor Husband. All right, the next one's easier. Item E, which is a resolution adopting use policies and rates for the Keizer Event Center, repealing Resolution R2023-3423. And this goes to Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, during the November 13th work session and the November 20th regular City Council meeting, it was discussed changing the Keizer Community Center to the Keizer Event Center to better reflect the types of services and events that have been offered at that venue over the last 5 to 10 years. In order to make all of our documentation consistent, we're bringing this back at this point to basically change the name in the resolution that we adopted last time. With that, if there's any additional questions, I would be free to address them. We also have Lily Vaughn here with us, who is the event center manager.
All right, thank you very much. Before I bring up Ms. Vaughn, are there any questions on the proposal in the packet? Ms. Vaughn, would you like to come up? I would love for people to hear what we heard in the work session regarding, and I think we talked about it last time a little bit as well, community center, event center, and how our space is being used by the community.
Yes. Thank you, Madam Mayor. Thank you, City Council, for the opportunity to share some of the things that our little team, some of the amazing things we're doing with the event center and ease any possible concerns about the direction we're taking with the space. I have notes. 20% of my job is marketing and promotion of the event center. And so after I got a hold of what this job entails and understanding how things work and feeling like I could do other things than just learn as much as I could about what's going on around here, I started meeting other people in the community, in the industry, talking to others, going to networking events in Portland or in Salem, and I was finding that it was a challenge to introduce myself as the community center coordinator, because community center doesn't really explain what we do, that we have an event space here. We have 8,165 square feet of flexible event space for people to have their weddings, their benefits meetings for their staff, their family reunions, staff trainings, stuff like that. There are, in the area between here, Wilsonville, Corvallis, Silverton to the east, and Lincoln City to the west, there are almost 20 community centers. Let's say there are 17. 14 of them are, one of them is a church building. 3 of them do have some rental spaces, but 14, and a couple of those 3, do have city-sponsored events for families, for seniors, for kids, concerts in the park, knitting lessons, crochet. Daisy and I, my colleague who answer calls for the event center, we do regularly, especially during the summertime, get asked what events the city is hosting. And it is difficult sometimes to be the bearer of bad news that all we have are a bunch of empty rooms. And I think that if someone were looking for something for, say, a senior parent to do to get out of the house more often, they might be disappointed to find that we're not a community center in the way that so many community centers in the area operate. But say, for example, you have a staff of 100 and you want to show them have a company appreciation, staff appreciation party, you would be overjoyed to find that you could have it here. Or if you were having a wedding, you'd be very happy to find that you could have your event in a space that's right off I-5 and bring your own food. So I think that the name Event Center, like Mr. Wood said in his introduction, does convey what we are doing and what we have been doing and what we do intend to keep doing with our wonderful space.
Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Councilor Cross, do you have a question?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Great job, Lily. You know, I'm a huge fan of yours.
Thank you.
Day one, so great job, well done. So there's lots of exempt uses. I see like the Keizer Based Youth Sports, the neighborhood association meetings, the community forums, Keizer Library. So I see the community part of it. And before you, I mean, well done with the way you're talking us through all of this. Have you thought about what it could look like with it saying, because we do host so many community events, about having it maybe say Keizer Community Event Center? Do you think that what would that look like to you versus Keizer Event Center?
Thank you, Councilor Cross. I think that's a great question. I do feel that Event Center is a little more concise. And I do think that even with a name change like the Event Center, nothing has to go away. We, like you said, neighborhood associations meet here. I talk to Rhonda, Patty, Hirsch, Tammy, and Jackie regularly about making sure I have their meetings on the council, on the calendar, or say they need AV or a larger space for one of their meetings. Nothing like that is going to be lost.
Yeah, I don't think that for a reason. I just wondered if you like chewed on that or noodled that at all. And then how many do you think percentage, and I know it's not going to be exact, what percentage do you think are those free non-exempt groups with the meetings of what you are booking? Which is no charges.
Are you asking, say, quantity or volume? I would say that quantity, it is a large amount. This week, for example, more than half of the events.
So yeah, I guess that's what I was, because in my head, I'm thinking, yeah, you do for marketing, absolutely 100% the event center, but then I can kind of see with the amount of volume with that, the quantity of really where it is that community part, like the meat in the middle of the Keizer Community Event Center, and really just what your opinion on that.
I do like how concise the event center is, and I do think it still captures what we do.
Thank you.
Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just want to clarify, because I know there was some public comment that said well, I want to make sure I quote it correctly, so give me a minute. I should have had it pulled out. We are not transforming it into, I think the verbiage was along the lines of transforming it into a full-time event center. What is different? How is that different? What we're doing now different from what we've been doing? Because I don't recall us having a conversation of transforming it into a full-time event center. I thought that's what it was.
Thank you for bringing this up, President Starr. My staff have never uttered the phrase full-time event center. So to be honest, I don't know where that is coming from. The community offerings that were in the resolution before and have always been in the resolution are still in the resolution. And I think that we even do more than what is in the resolution for the community. Does that answer your question?
It does. I have a follow-up.
Follow-up?
Thank you. Maybe 2 or 3, or I'll stop maybe at 3.
Okay, yeah.
Or 4 or 5. I think the question too that I have, kind of along the same lines as what Councilor Cross said, and I had thought about this before, is I thought we agreed we were changing the name, right? I thought that's what we agreed to. This is just a codification of that consensus agreement to change the name that we've all agreed to before by consensus. So instead of doing yet another consensus name change, why don't we just add a tagline, our community's living room, or our community, just something, Keizer's living room, our community's living room, something. We can still keep it Keizer Event Center. I think I'm just confused on this communication about, that would help, I think, maintain the original vision, right? Because I think we do refer to this as our Keizer's living room. So a tagline, not necessarily the event title, maybe on marketing materials, just something to think about, not a requirement. But I just wanted to clarify if we were doing anything different now than we have been that would constitute transforming it into a full-time event center.
No. And to comment on the tagline, I'm happy to say that we do have a marketing plan and our goal is to come up with a tagline and a slogan. So I love that suggestion of Keizer's living room. Thank you.
There you go. I think we're done.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Duran.
Follow up. So my concern is it's been the Keizer Community Center, and that's what people really envisioned it. So changing the name has bothered a lot of people because it's different. So yeah, I was more in favor of Keizer Community Event Center. That was my thinking originally, what would be the best. My ultimate issue with what we're dealing with right now is you're going to be doing more marketing, and that's what it sounds like is changing, is marketing. And with me being here the last few months for a lot of time working on the trellises, this place gets busy when there's a lot of events going on, and there's just not enough parking. So I wonder if that's something that we have looked at. If this ain't going to be busy all the time because of the marketing, if we've come up with a way to correct that. It not only fills up this parking lot, it fills up the streets around this parking lot. And I'm concerned the more people here consistently, that's going to be an issue. It affects, I know, parking at the library and the events that they have going on. So I'm concerned that if we don't come up with a fix for that, we're just going to cause more problems and more frustration in the future. So I just wanted to bring that up.
All right, thank you very much. Council President Starr, do you have a,
Yeah.
and then back to you?
Sure.
Okay.
So one question, also in the communication, or the public comment, written comment, and I don't know, Lily, if you can speak to this or who, if maybe I could put Ms. Corey on the spot, but it references jeopardizing the sustainability and the livelihoods of other local businesses in town. Can either of you like enlighten me on that?
I would love to address that, and I would totally be open to Corey's thoughts on that.
If you would, and then when Ms. Florida is, if willing to come up, that would be great too. But please do share
Okay.
from your point of view.
I have not seen any evidence of jeopardizing other companies in the industry. In fact, I know Tim and Anita at Broadway Commons. I've gotten to know them. They use eSpace like we do, which is our scheduling software, and they've said to call them anytime if I have questions, which I've taken them up on. Every time I have an event that I go to at the Salem Convention Center, I knock on their door and I give hugs to Sarah and Teresa and Chrissy and Christy. I know Greg and Lane at the Kroc Center. There are more people around town that I've gotten to know, and my feeling is that there is no sense of competition whatsoever. We understand each other's gifts. For example, someone called me today looking for an auditorium sort of setting. I referred them to the Kroc Center. They've got an auditorium. I don't have that. We refer each other all the time. Willamette Heritage Center, Megan over there, they've got that gorgeous rustic ambiance that I can't provide. So I have not sensed any competition. Broadway Commons has 3 floors, more classrooms than we have, and a lounge and kitchen on every floor. But you can't have alcohol there, and they close at 8, and they're closed on the weekends. So we all have our gifts. We all try to understand each other's gifts, and we refer each other. So I have not sensed any of that competition or undermining that may be happening.
Thank you.
Stand by. I've got one down here. I'll go to Councilor Cross and I'll come to you.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I just wanted to follow up with, the more I kind of think about it with the, I do like keeping the route and adding to it. So I do like the Keizer Event Community Center. So, and I adore you, Lily, and you know that. So if we do vote with just Keizer Event Center, that's why I would feel more kind of comfortable with just keeping the route of the community center and adding event. So, but thank you for all that you do.
Councilor Kohler?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just to follow up on the other people that might be competitors, so to speak. Have you really had much communication with the Best Western Premier or with the Log Cabin Garden, or with the hotel up in Keizer Station?
Yes, so good question, thank you. I did not get there with my answer. John and Lenora at the Log House. I met with them, gorgeous place, only open till sunset, max 250 guests. And we talked about what we each had to offer the community, and Lenora said, when you have a brochure, bring it and put it on my table. So again, Lenora and her family, I don't feel there's any competition. There's an understanding of gifts. Holiday Inn does not have event space, although the Holiday Inn in Salem does have a quinceañera and wedding package that we can't beat. Twinkle lights, seat covers, quinceañera or wedding for $1,100. I don't think we can even compete with them. If anything, they may be undercutting others in town. Best Western off of River Road. I tried to call them multiple times, reach out to them via website and their email multiple times. I did not walk through their front doors, but they never responded. And so I don't know how hard they're trying to be an event center, to be honest, or to be an event space if they didn't respond to my calls or emails or online inquiries.
Thank you. Just another
Follow up?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Lily, again, thank you for coming and fielding these questions, because I've been fielding these questions all last several months. So anyway, we have a very unique space here. And
Absolutely.
I've had opportunity to use it a number of times myself, and very much appreciate what it is. And the uniqueness of this and the opportunities that it presents is definitely unique, and there's nowhere else really in Keizer close to the freeway that even compares to it. So thank you.
One more? All right. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Lillian, one more. It's not really a question, but more of a comment to my colleagues on the dais here. At our work session, Lily, who is our manager on staff, gave her opinion and her ask based on her experience of taking calls and meeting with potential clients, and gave her ask of us as a council to consider changing the name to the Keizer Event Center. We had discussion about that at a work session, and we concurred with her request to change the name. I am not an event professional. I depend on you, Lily, as our staff, as the city staff person, manager in charge of this, to give the information. And I look to you and I give your input a lot of credibility, because you're here every day and you're the one answering the emails and the phone calls. And you ask us to consider changing the name to the Keizer Event Center to be more reflective and of what we're doing. And we agreed on that by consensus at a work session. And so my comments to my colleagues are, we kind of agreed to that already by consensus. This was literally a request by our attorney to just codify that agreement and consensus that we had made to Lily at a work session after she asked us to consider it. And so I'm asking our colleagues to listen to the expertise that we have on staff running this facility. And she has asked us to agree to change the name. And I think we owe it to our staff, who is the professional, not me, not save for Sarita. I don't think, no offense, Mayor, but I don't know that you're an event planner either.
Not in anybody's wildest dreams.
I just would implore my colleagues to think about the agreement that we gave to Lily last time and not go back on what we, by consensus at that work session, agreed to. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. Thank you, Ms. Vaughn. Did you have one more? But before we get into deliberation, is this directed to Ms. Vaughn?
It is not.
Okay, then we're going to hold it. Is that for Ms. Vaughn?
I have a procedural question.
Yeah, okay. Because we're going to go to a motion here in a minute.
Okay.
Yes?
Okay. I'm just wondering, so the proposed motion in the packet, it doesn't say anything about the DBA part, the doing business as. So unless that's covered by the adopting use policies and rates, that part isn't, there's just a difference between what's in the subject line. It seems to be a difference between what's in the subject line and what's in the proposed motion.
Okay, so we'll get to that in a minute. So that's, any more questions for Ms. Vaughn? Thank you very much.
You're welcome, thank you.
Councilor Reed's question, Mr. Johnson.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So the resolution has that towards the bottom of the first page. And following up on Council President Starr's comment, when we went to adopt this, we did not change the name throughout the resolution that you adopted a few weeks back. It was still community center, because what happened was, although there seemed to be consensus at the work session, I did not pin you folks down when the actual regular meeting, and I had my assistant review the video, and there was really no consensus, although I knew it at the regular meeting, and it wasn't in the resolution. And so we felt it was appropriate to be certain that that was the council's direction. Plus, frankly, just as a matter of format, the resolution had the words community center throughout. the previous one you voted on. So that was the reason it's back there. It's at line 21 where it says, shall be referred to as Keizer Event Center, and staff is directed to revise all documentation referencing that name, so it's in the resolution there.
Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank
Okay,
you.
awesome. Let's go ahead, since we are, seem to be moving into a deliberative conversation. Council President Starr?
I move that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R2024, adopting use policies and rates for the Keizer Event Center, repealing Resolution R2023-3423.
Second.
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, gotta get used to that, adopting use policies and rates for the Keizer Event Center, repealing Resolution R 2023-3423. Discussion. Now you all get quiet. Councilor Duran.
So, yeah, looking back at what we had talked about before, I was under the impression that we hadn't made a decision on what the name was. So that I was thinking it was going to be Community Event Center because that's what I had wanted. So I thought maybe I missed something, but it sounds like with what Shannon said that we didn't make a official consensus, so.
Well, I understand that it was a separate conversation at the work session that Ms. Vaughn came up and asked us to consider the change from community center to event center, explained why, because we had talked about it a little bit, going, well, I like community, and then she explained what the difference was, and we all were like, oh, I get it. And I do concur with Council President Starr that this will help be clear to people coming to our community about what they're going to get here and what this is and what it isn't. Doing marketing that markets this as a community asset, a community welcoming space. I want to leave that to the marketers to make, communicate that. But what this is a blank slate. It is a place to have events, meetings, et cetera, and we don't provide programming per se. So I think the clarity that she requested was in that regard. So that's why I'll be in favor of this and encourage the marketing to really capture the community spirit of this place and the community basis of this place. Councilor Reed?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So if I were looking for an event and I saw Keizer Community Event Center, I would think of it as a community event center and not think that my event was welcome if I was not part of the community. So unless you put a comma there, it can be really confusing if you had community event center. So that to me, and as Lily says, the conciseness of it, that's really key to marketing. And so the name event center reflects what it does. Community event center, to me, seems confusing.
Thank you. Anything further, Councilor Duran?
But if it doesn't have community, what about the people that think of it as the community event center now go, well, can I still have my community events there?
That's where the marketing is. I'm sorry.
But it can go both ways.
While I would agree, I think that there's opportunity for how it's communicated. And yes, people get used to calling something a certain thing. People still refer to the place I go to church as the old State Farm building, and we've been in that church building for 20 years. So names stick around here, and I get that. I think it's important, though, to make sure that we're communicating to people about what this space is and how it can be used, and then have the marketing that will be really clear that this is our community space. We haven't changed the purpose or need over time, except as we needed to under Tracy Davis's direction, as she learned everything the hard way. When this opened, none of us knew how to run this place, and the direction pretty much was Tracy figure it out, and she did. But over time, processes had to be put in place, staff had to be hired, walls didn't move themselves. But I think more to your point, Councilor Duran, understanding how to run it for the benefit of the community, had to come with organization, processes, procedures, costs, to make sure that this place was taken care of. So I appreciate the desire to keep a community message with it, and I think through proper marketing that can be done, and to support Ms. Vaughn and her team to do exactly that. Councilor Duran?
One more. So my biggest concern, like I said, is the parking. So if we're going to be spending all this effort in marketing, we need to figure out how to make this more accessible and more friendly to the neighborhood for parking. I think the parking is going to be a big issue the more we pack people in here.
I think that's going to be a great conversation for us to have, and I look forward to Ms. Vaughn reporting back the usage here and the feedback she receives from users regarding the availability for parking. So I think that's going to be a great follow-up for us to know how this place is being used and whether she's running into some of those issues. I would agree. Anything further? Councilor Kohler.
I didn't get to my point a minute ago. Just a clarification, Council President Starr said that Councilor Cross was the only one that had any experience with event centers or planning events. I've been planning events for 40 years, but anyway, that's okay.
All right. Anything further? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying no.
No.
Motion passes with 2 noes as Councilor Duran and Councilor Cross. All right. Thank you very much. That takes us to, and 1 absent, that's Councilor Husman. Item F, the event center use fee waiver. Keizer Chamber of Commerce, First Citizens Banquet. Ms. Falardo, come on up. If you wanted to tell us a little bit about this, actually, come on up and then stand by. This goes to Mr. Wood. And we'd love to hear about the event.
Madam Mayor, City Council, I'll keep this short since the real star is over there. But we've received a request waiver for the Keizer Chamber of Commerce for their First Citizens Banquet. They're requesting that we waive $3,275 of use fees. The city staff is recommending, consistent with previous discussions we've had, that we continue to charge the refundable security deposit, and in this case, $262.50 for third-party security personnel. And with that, I'll turn it over to our representative from the Chamber of Commerce.
Thank you. My name is Corey Falardo, Executive Director at the Keizer Chamber of Commerce. And Mr. Wood is correct. That's why I'm here, to ask for a fee waiver for Keizer First Citizen Banquet happening January 20th. The event will start at 5:30 and we will hope to end before 9 p.m. Sometimes we love to celebrate a little longer than we plan to, but we are fixing to have a wonderful event, as always, celebrating the previous year and bringing in the new year and hearing from some lovely speakers. And the committee sits down tomorrow to pick our award winners, and Mr. Brown is joining us for that this year, and Lieutenant Copeland. I hope Chief Copeland. Good grief. Blast from the past there. And we have a great committee choosing the award winners. So we're just really looking forward to celebrating the future. And we have some really great candidates for the Dennis Coho Award. And again, that's an award near and dear to my heart, with the celebrating the high school seniors and the great work they do in our community, volunteering. And it's a very unique scholarship. We don't look at GPA, we look at their commitment to the Keizer motto of pride, spirit, and volunteerism. And it's a scholarship that honors former Mayor Dennis Coho. And we're just excited to see what happens and who wins and who attends and what they're wearing. But yeah, we hope that you will go online and register and that you'll grant this fee waiver. And we are okay with paying for security, geez, and the other fees that we've paid in the past.
All right,
Works for us.
fabulous.
Any questions?
Any questions for Ms. Falardo? And no, she can't tell you who's going to win because she's good, but she's not
I don't even
clairvoyant.
know yet. We're going to
Yeah.
make that choice tomorrow, so.
All right. Well, we're looking forward to that. And thank you so much for being with us tonight.
Absolutely.
We're looking forward to the event.
My pleasure.
All right. Thank you. All right. Any other questions on the staff report or the request? Okay. Council President Starr.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Mr. Wood, what's the turnaround time to refund the security deposit?
Typically, we can do it within a couple of days.
Oh, okay, thank you. That's awesome. Thanks.
Very efficient. All right. Council President Starr, want to put a motion on the table, please?
I would love to. I move the Keizer City Council approve a waiver of the event center use fee of $3,275 for the Keizer Chamber of Commerce for Citizens Banquet on January 20th, 2024, but charge for the refundable security deposit of $1,500 and $262.50 for third-party security personnel.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council approve a waiver for the event center use fee under the conditions that were delineated in the motion. Any further discussion? All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent as Councilor Hessman. Thank you all very much. We will now go to the consent calendar. And Council President Starr, would you please read the items on tonight's consent calendar?
Thank you. Consent calendar items consist of item A, resolution authorizing the city manager to award and enter into an agreement with Pacific Excavation, Inc. for 2024 water line replacement project. Item B, resolution authorizing the city manager to enter into a contract with Cascade Waterworks LLC for the new Wrights well pump installation. Item C, approval of December 4th, 2023 regular session meeting minutes. And item D, approval of December 18th, 2023 regular session meeting minutes.
Thank you very much. Are there any polls? Council President Starr?
I move that Keizer City Council adopt the consent calendar, items A, B, C, and D.
Second?
The consent calendar has been moved and seconded. All in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent, that's Hessman. We will go to other business. This time is provided to allow the mayor, city council members, or staff an opportunity to bring new oral matters before the council that are not on tonight's agenda. And it is a great pleasure that we bring forth this next item, and this goes to Ms. DePina. Yes? Oh, no, Mr. Johnson.
Yeah, I drew the short straw on this. Madam Mayor, I am also happy to announce this. Of course, I do have a little bit of conflict of interest. We were able, thanks to Ms. DePina and the executive recruiter, to pin down my replacement. Council has explored this matter fully with Ms. DePina and the executive recruiter, and I'm happy to announce that Joseph Lindsay has accepted the proposal, signed that contract. Now it's before you. We were not able to get it in the packet on time because we did not get the last minute references done until Friday, but we felt like we should bring this down. It gives us some flexibility on the dates in terms of when he starts and when I leave. I'm happy for the benefit of the public. Joe Lindsay was city attorney in Canby for 11 years. I had significant experience before that. I think he'll make a good replacement for me. Unfortunately, of course, he did go to U of O instead of Willamette Law School, where I went, but I am not holding that against him. So with that, Madam Mayor, it would be appropriate for council to first suspend the rules to consider this matter, and then there's a resolution before you to approve the contract, and I'd be happy to answer any questions.
Thank you very much. Are there any questions of Mr. Johnson before we suspend the rules? Council President Starr, suspend the rules.
I move that Keizer City Council suspend the rules to entertain the resolution for city attorney.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council suspend the rules to take up the matter before us. All in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously with one absent. Okay, let's put in the motion on the table and then we can deliberate. Council President Starr.
I move the Keizer City Council authorize the mayor and council president to sign the city attorney employment agreement with Joseph A. Lindsay.
Second?
It's been moved and seconded that the Keizer City Council adopt Resolution R 2024, authorizing the mayor and council president to sign city attorney employment agreement with Joseph A. Lindsay. Before we go to, this for deliberation, I would invite Council President Starr and Councilor Durand, who did the site interviews, to share a little bit of what they learned in this process about our, what I hope is our incoming city attorney. Council President Starr?
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I believe it was 5 interviews, reference interviews. I think it was even the first one. They were all glowing. If I didn't think I would get in trouble with Ms. DePina, I would have ended them after the first one when the reference said, Joseph was always in charge. This was the best reference, I think, statement that I've ever heard. Joseph was in charge of the fun at our city and staff, our city staff parties and functions. And he's not here now, and well, they're just not fun anymore. And so I thought that was just such an awesome reference for a colleague to give their peer. And you're awesome, Mr. Johnson. I just thought it was amazing that the city attorney, they called him fun, and he was in charge of their fun for their parties. So it was great. Everybody had rave reviews about working with Joseph, both city councilors and his colleagues, and some were still at the city and some are former staff, but they all it was glowing. So I think he will do well here. And I'm sad to see you go, but thank you, Shannon.
Thank you very much. Councilor Duran.
Well, I only got to talk to 4. One of them didn't want to talk to me, or I couldn't get a hold of them. But everybody had the same comments, and it was all like that, easy to get along with, always down to earth, very, very fun. Everybody just had said the same things that I felt when we talked to them in person. It was, when you talk to somebody, you kind of get a feeling for them and how you think they are, at least how they represent themselves in person. And everybody said exactly the same thing as what I felt when we were talking with them. So I really got a good feeling. I mean, it started off with the first person, and they happened to make a comment that was exactly how I had felt he was. So it was great. And I did have somebody else other than the person that you talked to, obviously, that did say he was fun and that they really missed having him there and working with him. And even a city councilor that said that it was very different when he left. And he just made things so much easier in the process of getting things accomplished. So that was it. I really felt good about talking to everybody.
Thank you. Follow up?
Yeah. And I just want everyone to know in the public, we got lots of, at least I did, I don't want to speak for Councilor Durham, but we got lots of input that he really knew a lot about being an attorney for this city. So it wasn't just fun. He really did know his stuff.
Thank you for clarifying.
So I just wanted everybody to know that.
Okay. Thank you very much. I do also want to give a big thank you to Ms. DePina and to our recruiter, Heather Rentschler. I could never pronounce her last name properly, who did a great job. We asked a great deal of her to make sure that we went out twice to make sure that we were able to get the caliber of candidate that we know we need, because after having someone like Mr. Johnson here from the beginning for the city of Keizer, these are very important and big shoes to fill. And we wanted somebody who is going to be able to keep the ball going in a forward momentum. So it's not a replacement, but we want a very capable and qualified team member for your successor. I think that's a better description in my book. Also wanted to just express my thanks to all of the city council members for being part of this recruitment process. This is not something that we do very often, I guess once every 40 years. So the next one will be long after I'm gone from here. I'm going to anticipate, and I'm looking for a very long run with Shannon's successor, Joseph Lindsay. Anything further from councilors? Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. Just a quick question. If we don't accept this contract, do we just have to keep Shannon for longer?
I think that's a nice try.
You can't blame me.
All right, anything further? All right, all in favor, please signify by saying aye. Aye. Any opposed, signify by saying no. Hearing no objection, motion passes unanimously, and welcome to our incoming city attorney, Joseph Lindsay. Yep. Okay. Is there any other business this evening, Mr. Brown?
I have no other business, Madam Mayor and Council.
All right, thank you very much. Let's go to staff updates. This time is provided for the staff members to report on council new or current projects. Mr. Brown, start with you.
Again, Madam Mayor and Council, I have no.
All right. Mr. Wood.
Madam Mayor, City Council, we're at the halfway mark now. Making a New Year's resolution to conserve water, and your utility bill will be happy. Thank you.
So people who didn't see Council President Starr's Facebook post very quickly got on to a plumbing project in order to save water and not let it go down the drain. And that's how people should spend New Year's, right? With plumbing. With that. Ms. Wilson, anything tonight?
No, thank you.
All right. Chief Copeland.
Thank you, Madam Mayor, City Councilors. Just a couple things that are pretty exciting, actually, for the police department. I'll get to Shaney's excitement here in a second. But we're in a position where we've lost some veteran officers, but we're in a position where we can hire some new blood. And so we're going to, hopefully within the next couple weeks, hire a kind of a homegrown young adult, Jesse White. I know he's a Keizer kid, grew up here, so he's been with us as a cadet for a long time. And we're hoping to get him an offer here soon. But then also we're going to do an open recruitment for some new officers as well. So to get a couple more on to replace some of these veteran officers that are leaving this next year. So, and then the other thing is we had an opportunity to get a emotional support dog. So we are in the process of working all that out and making sure it works out well. The dog is in town and is going to reside with Lieutenant Nelson. It's a beautiful young dog that we hope to get sworn in maybe in the next month or two. So we're still working through some stuff and making sure it's the right fit. So pretty fun.
That's fantastic. Yay. All right. Thank you so much. Mr. Pina.
Well, other than helping with the recruitments that you just heard about and orientation of our new furry friend, I have no other updates tonight.
What does that look like?
That sounds fun. All right, Mr. Witham.
Nothing this evening, Madam Mayor. Thank you.
Actually, I do have a quick question for you because I know that you've been following the developments on Legislative Concept 19, which is on affordable housing. I wasn't able to get on the last Zoom.
I wasn't either.
Okay, you weren't able to either?
No.
And this is, I want to give a huge shout out to Ariel Nelson from the League of Oregon Cities lobbying team. She has been carrying the ball on this all the way through the long session and get ready for the short session, and working with all of the team members across the state, cities large and small, and making sure that this legislation not only does not do harm, but also actually does some good for affordable housing. So I know it's been a huge lift, and I'm hoping that Mr. Witham and Councilor Duran can help keep on top of this so we know what we're up against. Or hopefully 4. Okay, I'm going to borrow a moment of optimism. 4 in the short session on this. So thank you very much. Mr. Johnson.
No, I did want to report that I offered our golden doodle to Chief Copeland, he declined.
This meeting's gone to the dogs.
All right, this is getting pretty rough. Okay, so with that, we'll go to council member reports, provided to council members to prevent items related to their work for the city, and we'll go to Councilor Cross. Happy New Year.
Thank you. Happy New Year. Let's see, on December 19th, I attended Salem Chamber Women's Luncheon. That was fun. Corey from Keizer Chamber attended with me, and then afterwards I attended Travel Salem. I'm part of their area sports commission, so that's kind of exciting with turf coming up to just be in the know on different events that Travel Salem is bidding on with, in the sports world. On the same week, I attended Keizer Rotary Lunch and then Keizer Chamber after hours happy hour for the Ugly Sweater Contest, where Kyle came in second and I came in first.
That was a lot of fun. Very, very creative. I'll leave it at that. Councilor Durand, you might want to.
I want to say I was robbed at that. I should have won. I spent a lot of time on Amazon finding that sweater. But no, other than that, I didn't get to do anything in the last couple weeks. All of my stuff was canceled, except for I did get to spend quite a bit of time talking with people about the incoming attorney, which I very much appreciated getting that opportunity. It was really nice being able to find out more about who we'd met, and I gained a lot of insight on who he is, and it was a good opportunity.
And thank you for doing that during the holidays. That was a big push for Council President Starr and Councilor Durand. Thank you so much for being willing to do that. Yes, we're very happy that you were able to get those done. Council President Starr.
Like Councilor Duran, spent quite a bit of time on those reference interviews and look forward to having Joseph on the Keizer team. And just Happy New Year to everyone.
All right, thank you very much. Councilor Kohler.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. I attended Food for Thought on the 27th. It was a good presentation. It's amazing to rub shoulders with such amazing people. Just have a quick thanks to all the people that participated in Miracle of the Lights this year. There was a lot of work that went into making that all possible, and a lot of people that participated to, I think, hopefully make that a great success. And then just have a quick question for staff. Has anybody expressed any interest in doing concerts in the park this next year?
We actually, thanks, Madam Mayor and Councilor Kohler. We have a couple people that we're having discussions with about doing that, and maybe even combining efforts to get something solid. So we'll continue those discussions.
Thank you. That's all I have.
Great. So that's a great preview of possible coming events. Thank you. Councilor Reed.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So I was able to, on the 21st, I toured the Youth Drop-In Center with the Community Action Agency Board. And it's a fabulous facility, and it fulfills a really intense need. One of the things that we heard in part of that tour is how the youth experience has often been overlooked in the addressing of homeless issues. And so anyway, it's a fantastic facility, and a lot of really good people running it. And I am really excited to get to know more about that organization and kind of see that inside look a little bit more. We have a board meeting tomorrow that I will also be attending. We have Community Diversity Engagement Committee on Thursday, and the Keizer Heritage Foundation board meeting next Tuesday. And then the West Keizer Neighborhood Association meeting is coming up soon. So looking forward to that.
All right, thank you very much. Youth Councilor Woodard.
Thank you, Madam Mayor. So, McNary, coming up, we have this year's musical. This year's musical is Mamma Mia, and I'm a big fan of the McNary musicals. They're actually really good. And so for the dates, they're playing January 24th to the 27th and also February 1st to the 3rd. I don't think they have this many showings, but for all those days, it's at 7 to 9 p.m. And that'll be really fun, really nice. And for any upcoming college students, they probably already know about the FAFSA, but the FAFSA opened up December 31st, and that's definitely going to be something big, and the website's probably going to go down, and it's probably going to be a really big struggle to fill out. But they can have fun with that. And that's all I have. Thank you, Madam Mayor.
What a vote of encouragement.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
I'm going to
he's
have
not
to do it
wrong.
myself. I'm going to have to do it myself.
No, I remember doing the FAFSA for all of my kids and everything, so I feel for everybody, but get it done anyway. It's really, really important for college scholarships, so persevere. All right, just a couple things to add. Want to thank Council President Starr for attending the open house with Congresswoman Salinas. I was unable to attend as I was attending to family needs. On the 19th, attended the Mid-Willamette Valley Council of Government Boards. And one of the key things there was we received the audit for our 3 county council of governments. They have been in the process for the last 3 years of completely overhauling the financial accounting system. And this was just soup to nuts. Everything got upgraded and so forth. Last year was the last one going between 2 systems because of the carryover of some of the funds that have a longer window than just 1 fiscal year. This year, everything was completely done. The audit was done early, and there were no issues, completely clean audit. A huge thank you to the finance team at the Council of Governments led by Amber Mathieson. Why is this important to Keizer? Well, not only were I a member of the COG board, but they also oversee the small business administration loans for businesses in our region. They are a critical part of making sure that money is coming in and getting to our local businesses. So excellence in finance management is critical, and they were not content to use the old system, but did the hard work to bring everything up to modern standards and did so with flying colors. Well done. Also was able to then participate in the Community Development Partnership Board, moving forward with the community economic development strategy, which will have Keizer projects listed, will be a living document so we can continue to update, and again, to show our congressional delegation that if they want to spend money well, spend it here. We know what to do with it properly. I do want to thank the Mayor of Independence for hosting our annual Mid-Willamette Valley Mayor's Coalition at their home in Independence. John and Patty McCardle are always very gracious hosts, but even more than that, Mayor McCardle has been in office for many years and has been a mentor and an inspiration to mayors across our region. As we enter office, he's just a great one to be a mentor. I don't know if most of you know, he's also was an Olympian back in the 80s and is part of the International Olympic Committee, or the Oregon branch of the Olympics Committee. So really appreciate them. Coming up, just a couple of things. We've got the Legislative Committee meeting tomorrow, again, getting ready for short session. Legislative Concept 19, but of concern to all of us, of course, is the impact of Measure 110 on our committee, on our communities, and the Council of Governments. Collaboratively, we are working to help craft solutions that will take care of people in our community, get them where they need to be, and understand that Measure 110 has not been good for the community, for people suffering from addictions, and we need to move forward with solutions. The other big piece coming up will be the opening of the Catholic Community Services Family Shelters, and that will be on the 10th. I'm going to be joining folks from across our area to celebrate that, and more families will be housed. At the end of this month, Sequoia Crossing, which will house 60 families, is just south of the border of Keizer, but they're close enough, they're part of our community. I know Keizer always embraces serving families, and we're going to be looking forward to welcoming 60 families to Sequoia Crossing, which is near Fred Meyer. I did have one question, and this will go probably to Ms. Bissett when she comes back, and that is, Do we know if we're having the city-county quarterly meeting on the 18th of January? So if we could find out, I know it's beyond our 2-week, this week and that, but is at the same time as a Chemeketa Community College meeting. And we want to make sure that Keizer shows up. So we got to know what's going to be coming. So if we could follow up with that.
I'm sorry, you said June 18th?
It would be on January 18th.
January.
Yep. So this would be our quarterly city-county breakfast.
Okay.
And the last one was canceled, so I'm a little uncertain if we're going to be continuing to meet with them this coming year. I didn't say that. Okay, I'll let that stand. Okay. Okay, that's all I got. Oh, and then, yes, that's it. All right. Agenda input, next Monday, January 8th at 6 p.m. We will have a work session regarding the utility service utilizing the public rights of way and communications license law. Is that the one we're doing next week? Okay. And then on Tuesday, January 16th, we will meet at 7 p.m. in regular session. On Thursday, January 18th, we'll meet at 6:30 as a joint City Council and Traffic Safety Bikeways Pedestrian Committee meeting to look at the work that has been underway for the Neighborhood Traffic Management Program. So thank you to everybody who's been involved with that, updating something from way back, gosh, in the when was it last done, like 2004? So it's been a minute. So thank you to Tammy Saldivar and Tammy Kunz and the 2 committees that have worked very hard on this, Neighborhood Association input, and a lot of great work that we're looking forward to meeting with you on. A quick question, will that be posted for people to read in advance? Okay, I'm getting a yes, so watch for that on the website. Monday, January 22nd, we will meet in a work session to review the status of our short-term goals, and then Monday, February 5th, 7 p.m., regular session. All right, that is all I have for agenda input. Is there anything else this evening? All right, the time is 8:48, and we are adjourned. Happy New Year, you all.